Today, get your marker pens out because free-to-plays hit the calendar. The PTR is getting spooky. PAX is getting hypey. Deep Dive divulges decrepit disclosures. And Draycass sticks it to the Cassians in our lore segment. All that and so much more in this episode of Geeks of Nexus.
A world forged in conflict, claimed as homeland by the exiles, conquered as territory by the Dominion. There is only one whose words we can trust. Geeks of Nexus.
Wildstar fans, and welcome to this week's, or is it next week's? I'm not sure. Geeks of Nexus. This is episode number 17, and we're recording for some reason, which I'll explain in a minute, on Friday, the 4th of September 2015. I am your host, Draycass, and with me, amazingly, is Sparky. Hello, Sparky.
Hey, how's it going?
Hello.
Hi. I made it to this one.
I'm sure you'll berate me in a bit.
Yeah, hi, how's it going?
Maybe you want to apologise.
Is that what you're after?
No, I want an apology.
You want an apology? Yeah. Well, you can pry it from my cold sleeping hands.
Some of you may have noticed, and we have had quite a few comments, that this week's podcast is late. Mm-hmm.
Funny story, I was on Skype waiting, for my co-host to arrive. I was trying to message her as much as I could, and in like 6 hours later, she finally replied after the podcast had been and gone, saying, "Sorry, I fell asleep." What the hell, Dre?
Oh, better turn that off. Not entirely true, is it, Sparky? Not entirely true. Because some of you may know that I work shifts, so we tend to record. That's why we don't live stream the show, because we can't guarantee when we're going to record it. But it's always between Sunday and Tuesday, so we can get it out at least by Tuesday. So this week, the recording date was going to be Tuesday before my night shift, and we organised. What was it on the Tuesday morning? We said she'll meet about 5:30. So there it was, 5:30. I said to Sparky, "I'm just setting up. I'll call you in a minute." Didn't get a reply. I was like, "Are you there, Sparky?" Sparky, come in. Nothing. An hour and a half later, I decided to jump on and play Wildstar. So I was playing Wildstar for an hour and a half. Still hadn't heard from Sparky. Getting a little bit concerned. But I had to go and have a nap before working the whole night. So I said, I have to go now and have a nap. I hope you're alright. Getting a bit concerned. Didn't hear anything from him until the next day. When he said, "Really sorry, I fell asleep on my desk."
I did. I woke up on my keyboard.
You need to sort yourself out, Sparky.
Wow, that's rude.
The thing is, you're normally really reliable, so I was genuinely really worried.
I know.
I thought something bad had happened.
Well, it's pretty bad. I mean, my pillow's way more comfortable.
Anyway, so we apologise. And in the meantime, what would have been a reasonably short or reasonable houred podcast might turn into a 2-hour podcast, because loads more have happened in those last few days. So this might be 2 podcasts. This might be this week's podcast and next week's podcast in one. We'll see what happens. Unless there's loads of stuff announced.
Yeah, depends on how much news comes out after we record this.
Yeah.
But I doubt there's going to be much.
You said that now. The floodgates are now going to open.
What more can they possibly announce?
Well, I don't know. We'll see. They keep surprising us, Gold Carbine. So, Sparky, other than falling asleep, what have you been doing this week in the old Wildstar?
Well, I've had the grand pleasure of sitting in multiple 3-hour-long queues. Because as you know, and many of the listeners might know as well, I'm still on my goddamn attunement. I'm trying to get at least the silver medal medal in all of the adventures, and I'm on 75%. I need one more adventure. Can you possibly guess what that adventure is, Kim?
Did it begin with the initials TMT?
It does. It's TMT, and it's goddamn dynamite. It's blowing my mind because it's the Malgrave Trail. I'm
so
trying.
Close to TMT, it hurts. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to queue for the Malgrave Trail. Every day I log on, I sit in like a 2 or a 3 hour queue because no one wants to do adventures and no one specifically wants to do the Malgrave Trail. And when I eventually finally get into the Malgrave Trail and it loads up, people see what it is. There's like 2 seconds of disbelief. You can feel the tension in the air, and then they go, disband? ? And everyone just instantly clicks yes. 4 people click yes. They disband and kick me out after a 3 hour queue. Holy crap. It is. I've probably spent about 20 hours collectively this week in the Malgrave Trail queue.
I did say to you, you need to come on when we have our veteran nights on the guild, because then we will run it with you.
Yeah, but schedules and timings don't always align.
This is true. We'll get it done, Sparky. We'll get it done this week.
Yeah, but like PSA, people listening out there, if you don't want to do the Malgrave Trail, don't queue for random, please, because some people do actually want to do the Malgrave Trail.
You might be sitting in the queue for 3 hours,
okay.
Sparky. But oh well.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
oh well.
I'll step off my soapbox
Get off
now.
your soapbox. Yeah, jump off. Well, my week this week.
Yeah.
I put in some really complicated words in the show notes. I don't even know. Completionist-itis and ultitis have taken over my life.
You should see a doctor.
I need some kind of medicine. So I've been getting my my alts up to level 15, sit them in housing, ready for free to play, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
I've got every single class now on my exiles, apart from my stalker and my warrior, which are nearly there as well, up to level 15. And each one, I've been making sure does all of their path quests and reveals the whole map and does as many achievements as I can in each zone as we go. Yeah. And I've also sent my new main, my exile Esper, back to finish path quests and everything and to do achievements that she hasn't done. It's becoming a bit of a problem.
You're really liking that first zone, aren't you? Yes,
I have done Algorak and Celestion multiple times. It's I know it like the back of my hand now.
That's terrible.
But on that note, I have found some new secrets of Nexus, which some people probably know about already, but not everybody will know about. So I started a new YouTube thing, video series. That's the one called The Secrets of Nexus.
Yeah.
Episode 1 is up already, and episode 2 is in the works with the help of Sparky. Mm-hmm. And episode 3 is also recorded, but I'm going to put them out weekly. Don't want to rush them all out.
No.
Take
time.
Yeah.
Savour it.
But little things you might not necessarily know about without Googling it or stumbling across it, I'm going to be putting them in little videos as I go.
They're pretty good as well. Some of them are pretty amusing.
Yeah, they're quite funny. I like them.
And the
other thing was, you were going on about your rare mount that you got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Turns out
the alien Velocirex, that's the one.
Yeah.
The cool little purple one.
Yeah.
I have one now. Yep. Turns out they're tradable, and the lovely the GM Guildmistress, Kate Perfidy Jones, as she's also known, she gave it to me. She had a spare one. They're so rare that people are giving them away. Is what she wanted me to tell you.
It says they're rare on the internet.
I think they
with
are.
The internet live.
She's just very. She had a spare one. She had a spare one going. Right. So yeah.
Well, I'm just not allowed to have anything shiny over you, am I? You just got to one-up me every time.
At least you weren't yours. I was just giving mine.
Jeez.
Right.
Well, congrats. I guess congrats are in order.
Thanks for that. So our very last shout out for this one really is for the Construction Championship Clash Extreme. Our housing competition.
Shout out ever.
The last shout out, because the closing date is today. September the 4th.
Really, it is, yeah.
This very day.
Holy crap.
So if you're hearing this after the 4th of September, then it's too late. You can't enter. You cannot enter after midnight, British summertime tonight. Or some of you are in Europe. I think they're like an hour out, aren't they? So whatever midnight is in the last midnight in Europe, it might be 1 o'clock British summertime. I don't know. Really bad. Anyway, as long as everyone in Europe gets it in by 12 o'clock their time tonight, you're in the competition. We have something like 40 entrants so far. It's going to be insane.
That's pretty big. It's going to take us a while to get through those as well.
It might take us a while to go through those with Idastinia, but it'll be exciting.
Yes.
So if you haven't entered yet, go along to our tinyurl.com/GONCCC and you can see the details there and enter. Now we were going to be announcing the winner on Friday the 18th of September, which we're still hoping to do. However, because of the amount of entrants, if there is going to be a delay in that, we shall let you know.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Fat loot, people. Fat loot.
Lots and lots of loot going on there. So I suppose we better start the actual podcast, shall we?
Yay!
Go on then.
Hey, paper, read all about it. Hey, Grano, hey, big bouncer, eat some of this nose over here. Hey, chewer, this broadsheet's bigger than you. Hey, come on, guys, it's only 60 gold. Get back here.
News of the week.
I'm on the red wine tonight as well, by the way, people, so I apologise if by the end of the podcast I'm a little bit more slurry than normal.
I'll take over the hosting.
So there's been no news this week, really, is there? Nothing.
Nah, it's been a pretty quiet week. I mean, a couple of streams going on. People just winding down, really.
I'm sure I heard something. I'm sure there was something that we were meant to mention. Oh yeah. Free to play goes live on September the 29th.
Oh, that's just
2015.
Oh, it's just a little thing though.
So we have an announcement for what is going to be titled officially Wildstar Reloaded.
Wildstar Reloaded.
Reloaded. You should say that. You should do the trailer for that. Do it now. Do your audition.
What? There's no script, Kim.
Does Wildstar Reloaded? That's what you've got to say.
That's what Wildstar Reloaded.
That was rubbish.
There you
anyway,
go. Well, right. Well, screw you then. You can't force me on the spot to do a rubbish audition and then say it's rubbish. God.
So yesterday, which was Thursday, the third, yeah.
Yep.
Carbine came out and announced just on Twitter. I think it was it not?
Yeah.
Wildstar's going free to play on September the 29th, 2015, and then they did a stream yesterday with some little Q&As and stuff with the devs. And they have had another stream today as well. Mm-hmm. What do you think about this date? It's I was wrong because I said October, November. I was thinking more the end of October, maybe middle of October.
I think I said late November, didn't I?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I thought it was going to be earlier than what you said, but not this early. Yeah. Well, holy crap was my first thought. This is crazy early. It almost feels like I doubt this was the original plan. It really feels like the way it came out that they went, and they tripped over and they just pushed out the door.
Although they did say that at PAX, this is what today in the stream they were saying that this is what they've primed all the news people for PAX. So they must have known last week. Because this is what they've told everybody to keep quiet until today.
That's crazy though. I don't know. It just seems really early. Obviously, it's because I'm not sure if we'll get into this later, but I'll just say it.
Just go for it. Go.
Because phase 2 of PTR testing basically started a couple of days ago, and that's why a lot of people on the interwebs are concerned that this is way too soon. But both you and I know we've talked about this before, share the view that maybe it's not too soon.
It's a catch-22, isn't it? Which we've been talking about. I mean, some people are concerned that maybe they haven't ironed out some of the maybe bugs, a few little bugs that are still hanging around, and that there's not enough time to be able to test phase 2 with the new stats and rune system and everything else, and that is his Carbine again maybe rushing stuff out when they should be waiting until it's completely polished, and they're worried that it's going to turn some players off. But something we were discussing yesterday was half the problem is that this game needs players.
Yeah.
And people are excited and want to know when free to play is, genuinely. And I think there's probably a concern that if they wait too long, the hype's going to kind of start wearing off.
Yeah. I mean, when was that little teaser they released with the slow-mo bullet? Was that
3 or 4 weeks ago?
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say that's about a month ago, right?
Yeah.
So already the hype from that is kind of going to be tilting off a bit. I think you're totally right. I'll repeat what I said to you yesterday when we were diving into the game a bit. And that was, some people are concerned, indeed, like you brought up, that there are still bugs going on. It's particularly towards the end game. In a couple of the raids, there's some debuffs, weird stuff going on. There's some dot mechanics not quite loading right.
Gadgets and imbuements.
Yeah, gadgets and imbuements not being ticked off and stuff. And agreed, those are bad bugs that should be fixed. However, that being said, right now, Wildstar is dying a bit. Their player base is not big enough to cover their costs. That's why they've slimmed everything down. That's why there's now 2 mega servers for each continent. Well, not each continent, but the 2 major continents. Everyone knows what I mean. So I came up with the analogy.
It was a good analogy.
Thank you very much.
What are you sharing it?
Yeah, so am I. Can you see the smile on my face? Right now, players are complaining, right, that the House of Wildstar has some squeaky drawers in the kitchen that need to be fixed. But the problem right now is the house is on goddamn fire. It's burning down. You need to put the water on the house. Okay, that's what this free-to-play launch is. It's trying to quench the flames that are roaring on your home. I think you should worry about fixing the kitchen drawers and polishing the surfaces once the house is no longer on fire. We need to get some players in here, people.
This is the thing. Like, Wildstar has a really dedicated player base at the moment. You know, we know how dedicated they are because, you know, we're part of that community. We talk to them on a daily basis. They talk to us, and you know, they're the most amazing people ever. And they're extremely dedicated to the game and love it. But there's just not enough of us.
Exactly.
And we just need more people in. We need people, and everybody knows that is the problem Wildstar has at the moment. And when people see how amazing the game is already, I'm pretty sure they're going to come and play. Yeah. We just need to get them in, and then we can polish the doorknobs.
Polish the doorknobs.
Screw the screws
Euphemism, wink wink.
That is the thing. But on that note, another concern that people have brought out, and we've kind of touched on it previously, is marketing. Where is the marketing? And Beholder brought it up as well. We've talked about it. If you know about Wildstar and you play Wildstar, of course we know about it. We've seen the trailer and think, it's amazing, that trailer. I haven't seen anything on television. I've seen maybe a few ads on some websites, but I'm pretty sure that's coming to me because they know I searched for Wildstar on Google. So, you know, I'm getting my cookies and telling them to send me the Wildstar adverts. But there are still people that I meet a bit like, what, Wildstar's going free to play? Really?
Yeah.
Like, I heard that from someone only yesterday. I'm like,
there's a lot of people that I meet that say, Wildstar? Just full stop, they just don't know what Wildstar is.
Wildstar, exactly. And I think that is a major thing they need to tackle. For example, they've released the announcement date yesterday on Thursday. They were at PAX last week. Why didn't they announce it at PAX?
Well, you know, like I said at the top of the podcast, Kim, it's not that important. It's not that big.
And they still haven't released the final free-to-play trailer that they keep teasing us about. Like on the streams, they keep saying, there's an amazing trailer that we were shown by the art team that is just you'll love it. All of you will love this trailer. Where is the trailer? Why wasn't it announced when you give us the date? Maybe I'm missing something. If I'm missing, I'm pretty sure I'm not, because I don't understand.
Unless the trailer is the teaser.
No, there's a proper big trailer. There's another.
Right. Okay.
So there is the teaser trailer is just a teaser trailer. There's another trailer. They've told us there's another trailer.
Right. Okay.
They said there's another one coming. They even said that on the stream today. They said there's another trailer coming.
Really? That's
we
pretty
need
crazy.
that trailer should be. I know television marketing's expensive,
Yeah.
but I really do think they need to do that kind of investment, and the trailer needs to be out there already. If the date's only 3 or 4 weeks away.
Yeah, there's definitely nothing on TV here in the UK. Do you think is it on TV in America? Can American listeners let us know?
I mean, if there is, let us know. But according to Reddit,
Yeah.
I don't think there is.
There isn't. Yeah.
People have been mentioning it on Reddit, and no one said, "Hang on, I've seen an advert on NBA or
You
wherever."
brought up a good point before outside of podcasting, and that was that they're doing a really good job marketing this to players that are already playing.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a big problem. Obviously, they need to be contacting people that, and reaching and advertising to people that are not currently playing Wildstar. Because it's pretty obvious that those that are willing to pay the subscription right now are probably willing to play when it goes free as well. They're not exactly,
And most of them will probably keep paying a sub for Signature. Let's face it, a lot of them will. And I mean, they have said as well that they said on the stream they had something like 300,000 beta sign-ups, which is amazing. But you still need. I think you need more.
You need more. Yeah, I was just trying to say. Did you see me cock my eyebrows?
Yeah.
It's because 300,000. Yeah.
It might be a lot in Wildstar figures, but it's not a lot in MMO figures.
No, and I don't think it's enough in free-to-play figures.
I mean, I think you could survive on 500,000 people playing. There are other games that are free-to-play that are surviving around that mark. But I think Wildstar is one of those games that deserves a bigger player base. It's good enough to have a bigger player base. It's good enough to be in the millions. Like the amount of people that I've met in the last few weeks that have left other MMOs and come over to Wildstar, and they've gone, oh my god, I can't believe that I wasn't playing this before. Why didn't I give this a chance before? It's the game mechanics, the combat mechanics are better than any other MMO I've played.
Yeah.
So they need to be selling it to these other people that we need to get in.
Yeah. The problem is, it's a big flaw of free-to-play games. When the option is there to not spend a single penny or a single cent, depending on where you're from, people will try to achieve that. You can assume, like, my biased wild guess would be that of those like 300,000 beta signups, if all of those people went ahead and started playing the game when it goes free to play as well, I bet like 80% of them probably won't spend a single penny on Wildstar. It is the minority that actually go ahead and spend, real cash on games, on free to play games.
But they didn't have to spend a lot of money to put the trailer out and the date at PAX.
Yeah.
I just think it was a missed opportunity.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, we had all those people watching. They had the Twitch stream,
Yeah.
But there you go. So that's it. We're going free to play on the 29th.
Yes.
Some people think it's a good thing. Some people say it's too early. Only time will tell. It is, as many people have said on Reddit, the last roll of the die.
Mm-hmm.
So this is make or break, people. Let's make it. I did see another nice post on Reddit as well where someone said, Wildstar needs your help. If everybody just tweets or does something on their social media, on Twitter, on Facebook, about Wildstar to let other people know, if everybody does it, then that's a lot more people that will know about it. I thought that's quite sweet. But it's a fair point.
Yeah.
Tell your friends.
Yeah.
We did that, didn't we? We were like, on all the other Epic Geeks, we were like, you guys all need to download Wildstar and play it with us.
Yeah, I've told all my friends about it. The second the free-to-play announcement came on Twitter, I got that Twitter URL, copy and pasted it to every single friend I knew was interested in Wildstar on Skype.
It doesn't matter, even if they're not interested in Wildstar. If you know they play MMOs or they just have a PC, just send them a link.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
go, you need to get on this.
Yeah.
We can start our own hype. We can market this thing ourselves.
Well, I don't think it should be down to us.
It
just to
shouldn't
start
be.
with.
It shouldn't be. But that's another thing. I mean, they have said that in the coming weeks they're going to do a lot of streaming. There's going to be an extensive live stream during the launch, and they're also going to be getting streamers, other content creators, into the studios to stream with them on the live streams, which is something that we've talked about off podcast that they need to do. They need to be getting people that can play the game really well onto their streams to show off what this game can do.
Yeah.
And that's it.
They need to show all the exciting aspects of the game. They need to show late game PvP, late game raiding, and war plots and all the big stuff that not many people get to see when they're leveling characters on the PTR.
Exactly. Another big news is the Holocrypt guy
Yeah.
has been resurrected.
Yeah.
People have been getting very angry about this. It's been a big community topic. It really has. So for those of you that don't know, the Holocrypt guy, the sarcastic one who...
Did you fall down and die?
Are you back again so soon? Like, the one that basically tells you how bad you are at Wildstar. No, not really. But that's how some people saw it. So what they explained today on the stream was that pretty much they were getting emails from people complaining about him, saying they don't like it. They don't like him having a go at them every time they die. It's reminding them how poor they are at playing. So they've decided we're going to take him off. Then they thought maybe we could just change him a little bit, give him some different wording so he's not quite so sarcastic. People also weren't happy with that. So on the free-to-play, he's basically just been taken off. He's just not there. This caused uproar.
And rightfully so.
Uproar
Rightfully so.
and riots from people saying, you can't do this, you need to bring the Holocrypt guy back. So, there was literally nearly riots heading towards the studios of Carbine with torches and pitchforks and stuff. But fear not, people, fear not, because what they have said now is that there's going to be a toggle option, so you can have him on or off. So which other side of the fence you're on, it's going to be defaulted to on. So
Good.
if you don't know about it, you're at least going to hear him saying something once. But if you don't like it, if he makes you cry every time you die, you can turn him off. All right?
If you can't take it like a man and admit your downfalls, then yeah, you can turn him off.
Sensible solution, I think.
I'm so happy that he's going to stay though, because that is one of the token pieces of humour that really caught my interest in this game early on.
It fits in with the Wildstar humour.
It's brilliant. Yeah, it's brilliant.
It fits in with the game. It's not the same without him. It wouldn't be the same without him. So that's it. So something else that's that happened this week that we were going to talk about before this huge announcement came out was that there was a Shade Eve preview, of course, on the PTO last week.
Yes.
The old focus testing for Shades Eve, which is absolutely awesome as we thought it was going to be, I believe. New visuals in the capital cities, lots of pumpkins everywhere, and spiders, birds, and really cool things going on there. So Shades Eve looms over Nexus. This ancient holiday, rooted in the horrors of a plague that swept across Cassians, is a festival time of spooks and scares. Join the celebrations in Thadenilium, but watch out, the horrors of the past may very well return to haunt the present. So the major characters in Shades Eve is Jack Shade and the Angel, and there is a lot of lore around this, which we have covered previously. So there was a plague long time ago that swept over Cassians, and there was a little girl who didn't get infected by the plague and was basically the saviour. They created an antidote through her, and she became known as the Angel. And over the sort of generations, this plague was kind of given a character, a name, Jack Shade. And that's how this kind of holiday has started, I suppose.
Yeah.
So we have the nasty Jack Shade and the lovely Angel who saved everybody. It's kind of like a basic rundown of what's happened. And we've got lots of new things. Have you seen, because I know you haven't, for some whatever reason, even though you run a podcast, you haven't even been in the beta or the PTR.
I'm spending too much time in Malgrave Trail queues, Dre. That's what's up. No, I haven't dived into the PTR to look at this because, let's face it, it's all uploaded to the internet before I can jump in anyway.
This is what I was going to say. You've watched YouTube videos and
exactly.
stuff, haven't you?
I can just look at all this stuff the second it comes out anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I haven't experienced any of this firsthand, but I know a bit about it. I know a fair amount about it.
So there's a new expedition. Have you seen this?
Yes.
Called Quiet Downs. It's an expedition for 1 to 5 people. I have played it on my own. It was a bit scary, I'll be honest, to start with. But what's really cool about this expedition is it scales up to level 50.
Yeah.
Which is one reason why I think they're going free to play before the holiday, because you only need to be level 10. So from level 10 upwards, you're basically going to be scaled up and you'll be playing with level 50 players, which is awesome, and I think a really good idea. So in this expedition, you'll learn about Jack Shade and the mysterious girl, the angel, that he really doesn't like, it says here. You'll start in the dark forest. And this was the thing. I think you're meant to have a torch, but that's not quite in the free-to-play at the moment. To be honest...
Yeah, it was horribly bugged in the free-to-play, and they were running around in pitch black darkness.
Yeah, but I actually quite liked it. I think it worked without a torch. I think they should maybe keep it without a torch, but I haven't seen it with a torch, so I don't know. But I was a bit like, I'm stumbling around in the dark, I can't see branches and stuff, I don't know where I'm going. So you start off... whether you're on your own or with 5 people. I think if with 5 people you're spread out, so you don't start off together. You have to find each other and locate this fountain, right? So you need to try and find somewhere to start with, which is actually quite hard, and you've got no idea where it is. And then you basically go through this scenario, which I'm not going to spoil for people, but you go through this scenario. It kind of explains to you a little bit about Jack Shade and the angel, and gives you a little bit of lore and everything that we found about it. And at the end of it, you get some awesome loot.
Oh, yeah.
You get a gallery of ghastly goods, it's called, which has costumes, decor, and more inside it.
That is fantastic. That's what I'm about.
That is exactly what you're about.
You're talking my language now, Dre. Carry on.
This is what people are going to love. This, right? There's a new daily zone in the in each city around Jack Shade, or around Shades Eve. Sorry. You don't have to go too far. They're quite quick dailies. They're not like some of them that we've got at the moment.
Just fun little stuff around the city.
Fun little stuff, exactly, around the city you can go and do and just pop about and stuff. And while you do that, you will earn a new currency.
Love them new currencies. Yeah. To be fair, for holiday seasons, I expect it.
Yeah, it's not such a problem.
That's the best way to do things.
It's just funny, because we talk a lot about currency, as I know other podcasts do. So this new currency is going to be called Shade Silver, which you can use at the Shades Eve vendor and spend on lots of other nice loot. So tricks and treats, ghastly gruel, a lot. I'm not really going to go into it all, but it's basically go through the whole list. It's a very long list of things that is basically, ghouls and things.
There's consumables. There's a costume to make you look like Jack Shades or the Angel. There's some hilarious long blonde locks of hair.
Yeah, that's funny. Which you can dye various colours. Yeah.
There's a lot of housing decor, which is all very spooky and Halloween themed. Sorry, not Halloween themed.
Shades Eve themed.
Shades Eve themed. It's definitely nothing to do with Halloween. And there's 3 pets: a shadeling, a syringe of the shades, is that how you pronounce that? And an inoculation of the angel. That sounds awesome.
And as always, Mayor Das Moose, as well as other people, but him specifically, has some great videos and pictures covering the decor items, etc., that you can find for Shades Eve. So follow him on Twitter, Mayor Das Moose, and go and have a look at some of the stuff he's posted over the last few weeks. There's some achievements as well that you can do. Pandemic Preventer title, Nightly Fright, and Village Vanquisher, which you get for defeating the villages in Quiet Downs. There's lots of stuff on YouTube, so if you haven't seen it yet, go on YouTube, stick in Wildstar Shades Eve, and you'll just see loads of stuff. Yeah,
it's really visual stuff, but it looks awesome. Hats off to, was it Cadium that was working on this? I think.
Lots of people, I think, but yeah, Cadians don't
Yeah.
work.
It was interesting to hear how they did it. Basically, it was apparently they redid the main cities in plots, just like your housing is.
Yeah, in the plugs, like changing
Plugs, that's the word I was looking for. Yeah. And they've actually designed them all with actual pieces of decor that you can attain. And so, like, everything you see around the city, you can get by earning the Shade Silver currency. And you can take it to your own, housing plot. But yeah, they, like, made all these plugs, and then they literally just plopped them in around the city.
Which is a great way of being able to change stuff, isn't it?
That's really, really clever.
Housing people are going to love this holiday.
That's going to be crazy.
Then we can look forward to the Christmas holiday, which will be called something else, but,
Yeah.
it'll be snowy.
And there'll be time for people listening to this to put some on. Well, there. No, there won't be.
No.
I was going to say put it in the housing competition, but there won't be enough time.
No,
There won't be enough time. We'll be probably like finishing off just before free to play hits, won't we?
Yes. Although
Damn it.
our next competition could be
Next
something to do with Shade's Eve. The one sponsored by Mini Stabber. Maybe Mini Stabber could come up with an idea for our next competition. Seeing as she's given us the winnings.
The money.
The plat. So we were going to talk loads about Shade's Eve, but we've got far too much to talk about. So that's why we've kind of skipped over a little bit. And to be honest, we don't want to ruin it for people either, do we?
No.
Because it's a holiday. It's not that far away either. It must, a couple of months, I'm guessing.
Oh, the one thing I do want to cover is the timing of it.
Yes.
What do you think about the timing being so close to free to play release? Because there was some back and forth on this on the interwebs.
Yeah, well, I heard because we discussed this, didn't we, a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about when we thought they were going to release it, and we were a bit like, should they release free to play before the holiday, so that the new people get to enjoy it, or should they, or would that be too overwhelming for them, or should they release it after, so that Shades Eve is more of a reward for the current player base?
We talked about this in the last podcast, didn't we?
It was one of them. It wasn't that
it's flooding back
away.
to me.
So we're coming back now. And I was when I heard the announcement yesterday. This is the first thing I thought about, and I thought, you know what, the fact, and I think this is why they've decided to do the expedition from level 10 and to scale people up.
Yeah.
Because it's giving the new people plenty of time to get to level 10 and enjoy the content and to jump in and play with other people. And I think that's why they're bringing it. I think that's why they're bringing it out at the end of September. Because I think if you bring it out in the middle of September, the middle of October, it's not going to give people enough time to enjoy the normal content before the holiday comes out.
Yeah.
And when you've spent that much time on a holiday, you're going to want to see. You're going to want most people as possible. More people as possible to appreciate it. Yeah. So that's why. That's one of the reasons I think they're bringing it out on September the 29th.
Yeah. Do you think it's so? You think it's a good thing?
I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah.
All of the above reasons, really. I don't need to repeat what you said. I agree with everything.
No.
I'm pretty sure I even said that when we talked about it those couple of podcasts ago.
Maybe.
I think I said I'd prefer releasing it before. Yeah.
They just need to market the game. That's the only thing they're doing wrong right now in my eyes. Need to market.
Yeah.
Need a trailer. I guarantee you they're going to bring out the trailer when we release this podcast.
Yep.
It's going to happen. And those of you that are listening to it and know that's happened already, will be laughing.
Well, then we can preempt it, Draycass. Wow, wasn't that trailer awesome? You can just cut this at the end of the podcast, it's alright.
Great trailer.
That was amazing. I loved the bit with what was your favourite bit?
That thing
about
that happened.
The trailer. I liked that thing as well.
That thing was
looked
amazing.
Really good. Yeah.
Really well done. Yeah.
And the shocker at the end.
Oh, wasn't that great?
What, did you see that coming? I didn't even see that coming.
That shocked me.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah.
Well, that was good.
In a bit of shock right now.
I enjoyed that.
Yep.
Good.
So, on that note, we've still got some news to go into, but to break it up a little bit, we're going to bring our lore segment forward because we like to keep you on your toes. And we just thought we've got so much to talk about, we're going to break it up a little bit. So enjoy this one. I think I played a bit more of a major part this week. This is The Rise of the Cassians, Part 1.
Rise of the Cassians. A tempting offer. Axis Vedra emerged from her ship, inclining her head briefly to the droves of awe-stricken humans gathered before the columns of glossy, motionless Makari, their chassis gleaming in the hot sun. She knew how much importance humanoids curiously attached to such innocuous gestures, even if only those viewing the ceremony televised would catch it. To impress the millions overflowing the immense public square, she would need to employ bolder means. A squad of organic attendants trotted forward, bearing a corpulent man in golden robes on a thrumming electromagnetic cushion. When he spoke, his voice was soft and courtly, though he was unable to conceal the trepidation behind his frozen smile.
As Supreme Chancellor of the Cassian Commonwealth, allow me to bid our first interstellar visitors a gracious and mutually profitable welcome.
Phaedra's icy reply cut him off as her eyes raked the faces of the honor guard in shimmering ranks of red and gold.
Which is Tressane Toria.
The Chancellor's smile drooped a bit. He was a small but well-fed man, his true age obscured beneath the cicatrix of cosmetics.
I'm sorry?
The Devastator of Sculptoris.
Phaedra brushed past him, scanning and cross-referencing every genome in the crowded square.
Scourge of the Black Fleet. Slayer of Zephyrus the Crazed. Champion of the Pits of Fardoom. Decisive victories commanding the Cassian Commonwealth, 8,024. Victories in combat, 632. Defeats, 0. Produce her now.
The Chancellor coughed into his frilled sleeve.
Commander Toria remains involved in pacification efforts in the colonies. However, I am uniquely...
Phaedra's voice boomed across the square and the planet, echoing like thunder from the clouds.
We are the Makari, emissaries of the glorious and powerful Eldon. Tressane Toria must accompany us back to our world. In return, your race will rule the universe.
The Chancellor stepped back.
Should you decline this honor, you will be eradicated. Choose.
The silence stretched. Of the 3 million present, not a soul breathed. Finally, the Chancellor turned to his ashen-faced attendant and hissed,
Fetch me to the colonial channel once you can spare a thumb.
So, that was my best Makari there.
Yeah, that was good. You make a very scary leader, I should know.
I'm not scary at all. So, this week as well, a few deep dives went up, which was going to be our main news.
Yeah.
Before the other stuff came out. So it was a deep dive to game improvements, which we've already kind of gone over anyway. Changes to character creation, the arc ship, and 3 entry levels.
Yeah, all this stuff is old news.
It's all old news, but if you want to read up about it in sort of bite-sized pieces, then go along to the official Wildstar website, wildstar-online.com, where you can read it, along with the other deep dives, which we are going to spend a bit more time on.
Yes.
So they've also done a deep dive on the loot system,
Mm-hmm.
written by Evan Vezer, I can't even say that.
Verezel.
Graziano on September the 1st, 2015, which is a change to the loot systems. So there were some people moaning that maybe when you quested and in some dungeons they were getting loot that didn't really matter to them, wasn't effective for their class of choice or their play style. and that some of the vendors either had just pointless items that didn't need to be there, or items that was more powerful than what you can get in the quest tabs and stuff like that. So they've done a lot of changes for the free to play. So it's a wine, isn't it? Verizal. Verizal said, I don't think it's in the wine, it's just me. A lot of time when rewards were handed out from quests, it could seem like ones you got were for every class or spec other than the one you were playing at the time. I've certainly felt this in the past. But we've spent a fair amount of time reworking quest rewards to make sure that not only they provide not only more reasonable progression, but also they're usable and useful rewards more often. You should now always see viable quest rewards whether you're playing as a warrior tank, a medic healer, a damage dealing spell slinger, or another combination entirely. Now I think the new stat system's going to help with this as well.
Right.
Because they're not quite so specific, are they, to various classes?
No, but they are more specific inherently in themselves.
Yes, yeah, I suppose so. But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You know
It's
what I
weird.
mean.
It's weird. But we've been over that before. Let's not
Yes.
confuse ourselves
No,
again.
don't confuse me either. This vision. So what they're doing, they're trimming down vendor inventories and removing and reducing items that previously encroached on rewards players obtained through gameplay. So they're getting rid of a lot of the vendor items that you can buy and just putting relevant vendors in.
Right.
So what they're saying is this also allows them to place more emphasis on those vendors that they do want to stand out, making corporate vendors and reputation vendors more worthwhile. So when you max out your rep with a certain faction, those are going to be the items you're going to want to go and purchase,
Good. Yeah.
because they're
So there's
more
not going to
worthwhile
be as
for you.
many phaser vendors standing around with their white phase shifters.
It's just pointless.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just
exactly.
absolutely useless.
Just
Good.
getting rid of those lot. So again, it's a slim down, isn't it? So instances as well, they're changing that. Oh, hang on, sorry, they're changing. Oh god, I've got lost. Where am I? We've gone through a number of quests and vendor hubs in games to clear out some of the unnecessary vendors. So pretty much what you just said, streamlining it. Instances. Now this is a nice one as well. Gear options. They've said that one of the biggest issues with the previous item stats is that they didn't provide a lot of overlap for gear to be usable by multiple classes and specs. And when they did, it was frequently caused because the item wasn't ideal for anyone, generally resulting in the item being destroyed by the group. So I guess they've got lots of stats with things just getting deleted. With our new stats, this is going to be much less of an issue, which allows for us to offer multiple options at a given item level while still keeping loot tables more concise and predictable. And they're going to be doing this in a couple of ways. So they're going to be giving bandings for item levels. And what they mean by this is that loot will be grouped together by item level. For example, Veteran Adventures give item level of 68 to 70. Veteran Dungeons reward item levels 78 to 80. Genetic Archives can earn you the item levels 96 to 100. And there's also going to be a better loot distribution. So in Dungeons and Raids, we can now make a distinction between mini-bosses and bosses. And I've underlined this bit. No longer will final bosses be a barrier that stands between you and the higher tier loot. Instead, the best quality gear will be distributed amongst all the bosses, leaving only the more unique and powerful drops to the final rewards. How do you feel about that?
That kind of confuses me.
Why? Why is that confusing?
No, the best quality gear will be distributed amongst all bosses.
What they're saying is so between that item level, you can now get those items to drop from all of the bosses.
But then they say they leave only the more unique and powerful drops as the final reward.
Yeah, so it's a bit like you're going to have a unique item that only that last boss will
Oh, they
provide.
mean unique in the literal sense?
Yes.
As in...
As in, it's unique.
Right, okay.
Unique to that
As
boss.
in, you cannot equip more than once.
No, I
Isn't
think
that unique?
you can only get it from that boss. So there
Right.
will be some gear that you can only get from the final boss. But all the other
Okay.
gear or in that loot table you can get from any of the other bosses. So there's still a reason to kill the last boss, but there's still also a reason to kill all of the bosses in that instance. I think that's what it means.
I think I see.
You
So
get it.
so basically the item level of whatever drops from the final bosses, sorry, from the final boss will be among all the other bosses as well.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm with you. I
But
thought they were just
there'll be a certain, I don't know, weapon that you can only get from the last boss,
right.
for
Okay,
example.
I see.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought they were being completely, counter contradictory.
No, you
I
can
thought
get
they were
everything
saying
from all the bosses apart from this thing. They kind
all
of
of the
were
most
being.
powerful gear is going to be distributed evenly, apart from the really powerful stuff, which is not.
It was kind of a little bit
I was like, what?
contradictory, but I kind of knew what they meant at the
Right,
same
okay.
time.
Yeah.
So this includes, but it's not limited to, rare ruins, decor, artifact, and other imbuement items, and rare trade skills and runecraft material.
Right.
Now, some of you might be a bit concerned, especially with some of your alts. What if a piece of gear that's being deleted is on your character?
Oh,
Well, fear not, because you will find an equivalent replacement in your inventory. So
Yay.
if they're deleting something that you're wearing or you've got in your inventory, it'll just be swapped out with something else. Right.
so we're all going to spawn in with pants and tops missing.
Yep, pretty much. But what about the gear you've got for costumes, you might ask? Well, fear not again, because all appearances for removed items will be retained in the hollow wardrobe as long as you've already stored them.
Oh,
So if you want to use a specific
wow.
item, then you need to get it. But they have also said that if there's specific looks that are only available on those deleted items, they're going to try and make sure they're available elsewhere.
oh, okay.
So if you're trying to get something and it gets deleted and you haven't got it yet, you'll still be able to find it somewhere.
Okay, that's
That
cool.
makes sense.
That's cool.
So yeah, if it does get deleted, but you've already got it in the hollow wardrobe, it's fine. You should be able to equip it.
Good.
So it's pretty much just a slim down and try. It's a quality of life change again, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of strange. I brought this up when we were leveling on our olds outside of podcasting, and I didn't feel like loot distribution was that bad.
See, I
Maybe
have.
I've just been really lucky.
I can't.
But everything that seems to drop, I can use in some sort of capacity.
I can't remember which tune it was, whether it was my Esper or my Medic, but when I was leveling one of them, I used to get really annoyed that it never seemed to drop the stats that I needed or that I wanted, and quite often I'd get stats for my off spec, for my healing spec, and not for my DPS spec, which I needed to actually level with.
Right.
So I found things like that. So I have experienced it.
Okay.
I can't remember specific examples off the top of my head, but quite often quest stuff I was just deleting. In fact, I crafted. It might have been on my medic because I crafted a lot of my medic stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh my god.
so that might have been it.
Okay. Well, fair enough then.
So onto the deep dive for improving runes.
Improving runes.
Which you know all about.
Shall I save you and
Yes.
cover this one?
Yes,
You can take
please.
a rest.
I can drink my wine in peace.
Okay. So, yeah, there was a big post on the official forums once again, Wildstar Online, -online.com. This one was by Mark Tongbi Chang. Hope I got that right.
Great name.
Yeah. He says, so in Wildstar, runes, pretty important stuff, as I soon realized on my Stalker when that hit level 50. And I didn't have any runes for a long time. So he says at the moment it's kind of confusing unless you're a veteran player, and we want it to be sort of more accessible for all the new people that are going to be coming in when it goes free to play. So the first big change that I could see when I was going through this to the runes are the slots in the gear are obviously organized by whatever elements they are. So say that whether they're fire, they're earth, or they're wind, or whatever, they're now going to correspond, those slots, specifically to specific stats. So for example, one of the examples he gives is you'll find that critical hit or critical strike or strike through, all these sorts of stuff, is going to be often tied to fire runes. And so you can kind of think of fire slots as kind of like a DPS slot. And you'll find that most runes you get around the world are going to improve your DPS if they're fire orientated. One of the biggest change to the elemental slots is that fusion is no longer a standalone element. Fusion in the PTR, and when this goes free to play on the 29th, is now going to be a rune that can be slotted anywhere.
Like a meta gem.
Yeah,
in
like
WoW.
a meta gem. In WoW. And also I believe there's just like any slots at the moment, isn't there? There's this white slot that you can just put whatever you want in it. But yeah, fusion runes are now placeable anywhere.
Cool.
So that'll really help you get the stats you want, I suppose.
like that change, because that's one thing that always irritates me with the current runes, is that you can get like, you know, stats for Moxie on like any of them, and I always and I kind of think, why is it available on all of them? Why have I got anyway,
the most annoying thing is I want to go into it. The most annoying thing is say Moxie is available throughout all at the moment. It's available throughout, say, all of the different elements, or most of them. Yeah. The thing is, it's going to be more powerful in one of those. Yeah. So you have to tab through every single one of them at the moment and find, well, okay, this rune would give me plus 12 Moxie, but this will give me 16. Oh, holy crap, this will give me 32. And like, so if you didn't spend loads of time sitting at the rune crafting vendor at the moment, looking at all of your opportunities and going through your spreadsheet, trying to work out the most, you know, efficient rune calibration, then it can really be a pain in the ass.
It's
but
just
yeah,
too time consuming. I know people go, oh, it's dumbing down, blah, blah. It's not dumbing down. It's just you don't want to spend hours looking at a spreadsheet to put stuff in your gear. I don't want to anyway. I want to play the game. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, we don't want wild spreads. We want wild stars.
Exactly.
There you go. Right, the next bit and bob he focused on is specials are getting more special. In essence, see how well I can sum this up. Specials are now. Previously, they could be in a number of different places. Like you could get sort of procs on gear and stuff. I think they're mostly moving specials, or you know, what's known as proc abilities, to runes specifically. And they're going to make these runes mostly on fusion, I believe, so that they can be placed into any slot, with some exceptions, such as artifacts, artifact weapons, or inherent specials that some classes may have. So that could be placed anywhere, and that gives you some flexibility, because if that particular proc is, say, really inherent to a class's or a spec's playstyle, you can now keep it when you switch pieces of gear out. You can remove that rune and place it into the new piece, and you haven't lost anything.
Okay.
So that was that. He complained that the old system was complicated.
It says it's complicated.
Who would have thought? Yeah, it's complicated.
Like a relationship.
Yeah. Our relationship with the rune system is horrific. We're getting a divorce. At the moment, apparently, you can get up to 80 rune slots if your gear is really high, which they thought was crazy. That's too many runes.
When you put it like that, it's a bit.
It is a bit, yeah. 80 runes. And you got to think about all of the class sets, all of the what's it called, like special sets, all of the elder rune sets. There's it's
PvP
too much,
sets, yep.
Too much Dre. So when free to play hits, the max number of rune slots you'll have on your gear at any time is going to be about 35 at the max.
Which is still a lot if you think about it.
Well, yeah, that's
but
still
not
a lot.
as bad as 80.
No,
Yeah.
but considering like most of the class sets or whatever are like a cap of 8.
12, some of
Well,
them
at the
12,
moment
yeah.
it's 12,
Yeah.
but I think it's being reduced to 8.
Yeah.
That will help. So you can get like 3 like class sets or something, and then you can start getting like the
A few additional extras.
the few extras and the stats that are nice to you.
Yeah.
So that's that. At the moment, runes are restricted, of course, to whatever slot they can be plopped in. We know that. So, you know, only air can go into air. There's going to be a couple more restrictions about item level coming in. So you can't put a ridiculously overpowered rune that, you know, requires level 50 and whatever, an item level 100 into a level 14 piece of gear. That's
Makes sense.
also nothing new.
Yeah.
I think he just wanted to highlight that, but that's not really changing that much. And rune slots are now not going to be locked ever. You know how sometimes, well, I think it's most of the time actually, you get a piece of gear and it's only got one rune slot available until you click.
3, yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. That one is available, but like 2 or 3 more are locked, and you have to spend a couple of gold to unlock them. I believe that is going completely.
Okay.
Rune slots are going. If it has 4 rune slots on it, the second you pick up that piece of gear, you can equip 4 runes in without having to spend
So
gold.
that's how they're reducing it from 80 to 35, presumably.
Yeah. Well, it also just means that.
Limiting the rune slots on each piece of gear.
Yeah, exactly. And also, when you pick up a piece of new gear in a raid, you can just slot your runes in straight away and use it. There's no need to save it in your bags for when you get back to Thad or Ilium. So that'll be awesome for raiding. And what else? Oh, yeah. Runes. It's alright, you can edit that out. Runes can now be completed wholly on single pieces of gear. Rune sets, sorry. So like the class sets that I went over, you know, if I've got in the zone on my tanking engineer, I can now achieve all of the in the zone tiers, like the 8 power points or whatever, to make it the unique effect more powerful. I can now achieve that on just say my gloves. And so if I need a replacement for my gloves or whatever, I can take all of those out and slot them in, or I know that that's exactly, you know, what's missing. It's not like, because at the moment I've got in the zone ruined across like 3 pieces of gear. And so if I replace one, I might not necessarily realize that I've broken my in the zone rune slot piece without checking it. So that's just like a quality of life thing. If you want to put things in one gear, you can.
But they haven't clarified, I know we discussed this before the podcast, whether there's still restriction on the stats. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So at the moment you can only put 1 stat from that rune set in that item of gear.
Yeah, like say it's in the zone. It's a rune that's in the zone with deflect crit. I had this problem specifically when I was doing my runes. You need a lot of deflect crit as a tank because you don't want to get critically hit because that makes your health bar jump up and down and the healer piece their pants.
Yes.
So
I can
you have
confirm
experience with that.
Healer,
Yeah. So at the moment, if you put in 1 piece of deflect crit, it goes, okay, cool, done. No worries. And you go, cool, I'll put in some more deflect crit because that's the stat I need still. And it goes, well, first of all, it will cut that stat in half. It'll go, okay, I might allow it. You can put that piece in, but it's not as effective as the first one you put in. It's like half of the deflect crit stat. And then you try to do it a 3rd time and it'll say no completely. You cannot put that in your gear. You have to change it to like just pure deflect, or you have to change it to grit. It has to be a different stat. We don't know, from what we can tell in this deep dive at least. We need to ask a dev or something if we can. We don't know if that's changing. I'm tempted to say it won't. I'm just guessing.
But if they're going to be allowing you to complete your rune set in 1 piece of gear, I'd like to think that maybe they'd allow, or maybe it'd be too OP. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
The thing is, I think if they allowed that, if they allowed people to just stack up 1 stat, I think that's going to make things very cookie cutter.
Yeah.
It's going to make things so obvious.
Yeah.
Like all the tanks will just go, oh, I can have ludicrous amounts of health now? Cool, I'll just do that. And they stack up like
So it's likely they're not,
200
it's
of
just going to
crit
keep
everywhere.
the same. Yeah.
Exactly,
That's probably
yeah.
why they haven't mentioned it.
Yeah.
But it's worth asking the question.
Yeah. And the most important thing, I think this will be my last point because I've been droning on for ages. Finally, we have some filter options for runes.
Yay!
So you can finally click, I only want to search for a logic rune, say, above item level 80 or whatever, and it will only show those in the create basic rune tab. Thank God. Thank the Carbine Jeebus. That was needed so much. I'm pretty sure we brought that up 100 times
spoken
before.
about it before, yeah.
Yeah,
Filter
but
systems.
that is coming.
I think it was a Flames from the forums, wasn't it? Previously.
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there you go. That is all the changes coming for runes in free-to-play.
You can breathe.
Oh,
That's the deep dive summed up.
there you go. I'm going to
Save
enjoy
you reading. But if you
Yeah.
want to read, go to the official forums and read for yourself.
Mm.
We might have confused you even more. So go and sort it out.
Yeah, half that stuff I said was probably horrifically wrong.
It sounded alright.
It sounds good on paper.
Sounded alright. Roughly. Right, that's enough of that. I'm bored of that. So let's
Awesome.
move on.
Did you fall down and die?
Oh god. Why would they even put that in the game? Carbine? I'm so angry I could just post on the forums!
Flames from the forums.
Okay, so this week's Flame from the Forums comes from Reddit. And it's from a guy or girl called JanicXXIII. Is that 13? Janetic 13. And this was a point that when I first read it, or first started reading it, I was like, this guy's got it all wrong. I don't know what you're talking about. Until he came up with a few valid points. And I thought, oh, okay, he might actually have a point. I haven't thought of some of these things.
Right,
So
he might be onto something.
he might be onto something. So the title was Carbine, we need to talk about sprinting.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's quite a long one, but he basically starts off by talking about the fact that obviously in the PTR on the closed beta, you have three options: a walk, a run, and a sprint. They've taken away the shift sprint option, right? So this is what I was a bit like. Well, that's a good thing. We've talked about it in the past. What are you on about? You know, this is a non-point that you're coming up with.
Mute point.
A mute point, right? Until he made a point of saying that, you know, Wildstar, the best thing about Wildstar is the movement mechanics. The fact they had the sprint in there, the fact they had the double jump made the game feel unique. And I think he said that sprinting and double jumping in MMO was a nifty idea in 2013. And now it's so natural feeling that when a game doesn't offer it, it feels like we're being purposefully bogged down. Right. Sad to say, the changes made on the PTR kind of lessen this system, and it could use a second look. So his point here is, at present on the PTR, sprint is your default run speed. You can toggle through sprint, run, walk, but there is no shift sprint outside of combat. This is the real crux of the issue. The game in the live environment has a unified movement system. You shift sprint out of combat, you shift sprint in combat, easy. Now you have a system where that is, he's put spit. I think he meant split. With
Like a banana spit.
With different rules for different situations. The lack of shift sprint option out of combat makes jumping puzzles less satisfying and honestly frustrating at times, and also robs the hoverboard mounts of a lot of their fun quirks, like boosting off a ramp or getting the neat effect when you sprint from the thrusters. So these are 2 points I hadn't thought of. Firstly, does it confuse matters that you have the sprint shift in combat but not out of combat? And also, does it affect the jump puzzles, which you love so much, Sparky, and also the fun that people have with the hoverboards? You know, especially when you talk about housing with the races and with maybe what's the thing I'm making in my house?
Skate park.
Skate park.
Yeah.
You've got a skate park. So the question is, the committee wants faster ground movements for mounts to feel fast without having to constantly use sprint on a cooldown. No sweat. He's put on here, how about you just make the sprint timer out of combat infinite and add an auto run option, perhaps linked to the double tap on the shift key. I think what he's trying to say is, if you were in maybe walk or run, could you still have the shift sprint option on there?
What if
Now
you're
you're
so?
confusing even more. And
if
then
you're
what he's trying to say
walking-
is, could you
Yeah.
get around this? So say you've got it. Say you want to do the puzzle jump, or you want to do
Right.
your hoverboard tricks the
Yep.
way you are at the moment.
Yep.
Could they implement something? And this might be far too confusing for the devs to do. I don't know. But he's suggesting that maybe if you're in run, for example, out of combat,
Mhm.
you could still have the shift sprint option.
Now,
That's what he's getting at.
you know I haven't been on the PTR, but isn't there a tick box option to bring the old method back?
So
Mhm.
after some research, I'm going to come back here. I am
Okay,
trying to
we're
go on the
back.
PTR at the same time. What you're referring to, Sparky, is the fact that you can press... I don't know why my dog's barking. I'm really sorry. My other half's trying to sort him out. I don't know what it is. If you pressed... You see, you're walking. You press shift, you run. You
Yeah.
press shift, you sprint. You press shift, you run. You press shift, you sprint. So in the Reddit, there are people kind of saying, well, you could be running and then you press shift. And then there's lots of people discussing this about it's not the same, right? So for example, someone's put on his end, children's put pressing once will make you walk, second time run, third time sprint. Ian Pact has then replied, yes, it's not the same. That lack of deciding when to sprint and when to stop really does screw the jumping puzzles and some aspects of role-playing. Plus, the visual is really awkward for both mounted and unmounted travel. Someone else has replied, X Marcus Wild X, not a very good quality of life change, so I have to hit a button 3 times in case I accidentally hit it during a raid or PvP to get back to the speed I want. This is a stupid change. I really have no idea why this was even changed in the first place. And then someone else has put in reply to the fact you could just press shift once to sprint, like you were suggesting.
Yeah.
Edit. Just tried it in game. Can't sprint using shift when running normal speed though. That sucks. Maybe we have to try this when I get the PTR up live
Yeah.
as we're talking. So let's just talk. What are your thoughts then of the change? You haven't tried it in the PTR yet, but
No.
do you like it as it is at the moment? Do you? Let's just go back one. Do you think they had to change it? Had you even thought about it before they suggested changing it to a sprint all the time?
No, I don't think it needed changing. Yeah, I mean, coming from WoW, of course, we can't go a podcast without bringing it up.
We've already put it up once. Just
Yeah,
do it
there you
again.
go. Yeah, coming from that to Wildstar, you're obviously going from like the most immobile MMO around to the most mobile, like in
Yeah.
terms of character movement. So I obviously loved just the shifting function to sprint. Yeah, just because I think I mostly liked it in combat though. That's the thing, and it's still there in combat. I don't think it makes.
What
yeah,
about the jumping
I'm gonna go.
puzzles and the hoverboard stuff?
It's hard to say without first-hand experience of how that goes on the PTR. I'm tempted to say, out of combat, I don't mind. I mean, I'm sure you'll get used to it and you'll be able to control it for the jumping puzzles eventually. I think it's just taking people a bit by surprise now because they're so used to holding shift to sprint and make all those weird jumps on the puzzles that when that's taken away from them, they're still trying to do it by muscle memory. They're like, oh, I'm not going to quite make this, hold shift, and I'm walking and I've fallen. And that's pissing them off. So you'll get used to it, I think, guys. It really doesn't matter outside of combat. I think the only place that it really does matter is in combat, and that hasn't changed. So yeah, I'm a fan. I think.
I'm going to disagree, just because I have so much fun on my hoverboard
Right?
doing stuff like that. Or maybe
Okay.
I have to play around with it a bit more.
Yeah, but yeah,
To-
that's the
to-
thing, though. Are you
get
going to
an
have less fun?
idea of it. I don't know. I mean, Carbine have come out on this Reddit thread because people really are torn on it, but most people actually seem to not like the new change. I'll be honest.
Right.
Carbine have. Oh, I just got rid of it. Like literally, it was there. Carbine has said, "We appreciate the feedback, guys. We experiment with new mechanics like this as a measure to improve the overall player experience and gauge feedback. So yes, we really do appreciate your comments, and believe me, we're discussing this internally on how it can be improved." So either way, if you're playing on the PTR at the moment, play around with the new mechanics out of combat with the shift, do some jump puzzles, mess around on your hoverboard, and go and tell Carbine what you think about it. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Because this is something they could easily put in or not put in when it goes live on the 29th of September. But I need to know your feedback. So it's a very valid point, I think, that has been brought up.
It's a good point. He's got a lot of merit, I think. Obviously, I'm so ill-informed because I'm not on the PTR.
It's on the PTR.
I should go on the PTR. I'll tell you what. Between now and next podcast, I'll go on the PTR. I'll test it out, and we'll come back to this next podcast, and I'll give you my final informed verdict.
I do know that when you hold shift down, it doesn't change your speed, because I keep doing that all the time because I'm so used to pressing sprint.
Yeah.
I'm so used to pressing shift. It must just be when you just tap it that it changes your speed.
Right, okay.
But there you go. So, there it is. We put it out there to the masses. Discuss.
Discuss. It's worth 3 points. Question 5. Show you're working.
Yeah. And this last thing I put on the podcast, on the
Show
notes, I'm not going to mention.
Which bit? This bit?
This bit, yeah. Hang on. Alright, now I am. I'm going to be really close. I was thinking about whether the fact we've already discussed this or not. However...
we've kind of
covered it, haven't we? I'm not
kind of have. We can save it for next one.
We'll save it. We'll save it for the next one. I'll skip out. That'll just be... If there was a funny blip in the video, it's because we were discussing whether to not put a certain topic in. But this podcast is going to be way too long, and we've already kind of covered it anyway. So we're not going to bother. You'll just have to just guess what it is. And we're going to move on to this.
In 300 yards, turn right.
No. I know a shortcut up here.
Please turn around when possible.
No, I know this way is
I'm
faster.
an advanced GPS-stabilizing quantum-powered universal guidance system with bonus sarcasm and condescending modules built in, you lumbering oaf. Please follow the damn directions or face destruction.
These add-ons are starting to piss me off.
So this week's add-on of the week, which will not piss you off, is called Mail Helper. Have you tried Mail
Yay!
Helper?
I have Mail Helper.
Is
I
it
use it
awesome?
extensively. It is awesome.
It's very helpful, isn't it? Mail Helper is an add-on which adds functionality, surprise, surprise, to your mail system.
What?
Who'd have thought
Wait,
it?
it's not my raiding add-on?
No,
Oh.
it's your mail add-on. That's
Oh.
why it's called Mail Helper.
What about the females, though?
Doesn't help those.
Doesn't help them.
So the features on Mail Helper: on take all, gets all attachments and gold from your inbox. Removes harvest loot, and here's your stuff after taking the attachments. Removes mails. Removes mails. Removes all your
Me?
mails after
No, I like my
taking
place.
attachments and
No,
gold.
come now.
When the message is shorter than 3 characters. There's an options menu attached to the mail window, and fill alt characters names with 1 click, which is the nicest bit for me.
Yes.
And there are also lots of things for them to do in the future versions. They're looking at adding an auto mailing with rules and select twinks and guildmates and friends, etc. So if you're annoyed with the default UI for your mail, which is a bit clunky, you have to click on everything. Just download Mail Helper from Curse. It was updated on the 27th of August 2015, so it is a current add-on. Go get it today! I was hoping to have a soundboard up then I could click straight into it, but I didn't, so slight delay, here it is.
Hey, you've reached Geeks of Nexus. Unfortunately, Twitter's carrier pigeons were lost at Alicia Sea or something, so, leave a message after the tone. Bye.
I don't know how long we've been recording for, but I'm hoping this isn't the longest podcast ever, because we have been trying to dash through it as quickly as we can, because we also have more #AskGONs than we've ever had. And they're quite relevant ones. And they're from our favourite person mainly. But our first one is from another special person, at aka Saurus Rex, who happens to be on a Guild Wars 2 podcast called Guild Gab, which I highly recommend.
Mm-hmm.
Did you play Guild Wars 2?
Very briefly.
So, if you do play Guild Wars 2, go listen to Guild Gab, and I think aka Saurus Rex is going to come on the podcast at some point as well as a guest, because he's recently started playing Wildstar again.
Ooh.
So he's going to come and give us his thoughts as a new player and a Guild Wars 2 player. Give him some, look at it from the other side. But he threw out a question for us on the old Twitter. I wanted to throw out a question for your next Wildstar podcast. I was wondering your thoughts on expansions. Will they announce one this year or next? Should they increase the level cap or do something like Guild Wars 2? Love to hear all your thoughts. Smiley face.
You want me to answer this first?
Go for it.
Okay. Well, I think at the moment, questioning expansions is a bit hasty. Because, as I brought up in our little
Flames,
example earlier.
water, dousing, all that stuff. Yeah, got it.
Yeah, flames and houses on fire and stuff. It's not the best time to consider whether or not you want an extension on that flaming house. I think if the game survives and free to play, gets loads of people, let's assume it's really successful and it takes off, okay? And it's a super successful MMO. Yeah, sure. Expansions will definitely come. I think they need to add new content. They're going to want to sell more. Actually, they won't be able to sell more box copies.
It's free to play.
Free to play, yeah. Oh gosh, but no, they're going to want to add more content to keep the top tier players, there and paying for benefits and stuff in the shop. So I think they'll definitely add expansions.
It depends. I think it's. Sorry, go on. You got a big point?
Yeah, one of the major cash shop features is XP boosts.
Yes.
And wouldn't it be great if everyone has to level up again? Loads of people are going to want to buy XP boosts, which
And then
means
they
more money for
can
Carbine.
do a boost to level 50 purchase.
Ah, there you go.
Can't
See?
they?
Yeah.
Yes, they can. So
Yeah.
that answers that question. They're probably better off doing a level cap, increased level cap,
Exactly.
in a free-to-play version.
Yeah.
Although some people quite like the Diablo system of leveling up. I don't personally. I quite like the questing and just leveling up to the next level.
Yeah.
My thoughts are, it depends whether they go for just the constant updates or whether they do an actual official expansion.
They said
As we know
they're sticking to the program of trying to get a
Every
major
3
patch
months.
drop every 3 months.
And we know they're working on a raid because they've mentioned previously on streams that they're working on a raid at the moment to come
Yeah.
out.
And I think it's crazy to think that this game going forwards is just going to add more raids, and no new zones.
Yeah.
Because eventually all the zones will just be packed with raids.
Yeah.
You got to put them somewhere. Well, you have to put their instance portal somewhere at least. So yeah, I think in order to keep adding more raids, they need to have new zones because they need a new feel for the raids, and that's got to fit into a zone somewhere. So yeah, definitely. I think expansion's on the horizon if it survives.
I'm going to predict that the next couple of patches, because they're not content drops anymore, whatever they call them, content things. The next one's going to have Shades Eve, and then we're going to have a Christmas patch, Christmas themed patch, and then I think in March there's going to be something else. So I'm going to predict might be too soon, but I'm going to predict that maybe they're going to bring out a new raid in March.
I think they're going to have a new raid earlier.
What do you think earlier?
I think they need to bring out a raid for December.
The thing is, it's trying to keep the current player base happy.
Exactly.
And it's
yeah.
whether the 2 holidays in themselves are going to be enough to keep that player base happy.
I don't think so. I think the people that are unhappy right now going into this free-to-play patch are the top-tier raiders that have cleared everything. They're already complaining that there's no content for them to work on. So, yeah, I think that they're a bit peed off that there's nothing raid-worthy coming on the free-to-play drop. I think, and the Shades Eve drop. I think they're going to be super peed off and possibly leave game-worthy peed off if there's nothing by December. Yeah.
Alright, I can see where you're going. I'm still going to say March for the raid.
Okay.
But we'll see.
Well,
we will see.
Bets have been placed.
I can understand why they're not bringing out a raid on free-to-play, because that might make new players feel like they're too far behind. It's a tough balance, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a tough balance, keeping everybody happy. But we had some usual awesome #AskGUNs from our favourite person. We love you all equally, but Scrappy Jack in particular holds a special place in our heart.
We love you all equally, apart from Scrappy Jack, mate. We love
Who's
you
a
more.
little bit higher. And
You're
Mini
the
Stabber,
favourite.
of course. No,
Yeah.
she's special. She donates gifts for future things. So Scrappy Jack this week, he's given us 3 because there was 2 for like the last podcast we were meant to do on Tuesday, and then 1 for this one. So we've lumped them all in together. So one of them is right. I'm going to go for the most sobering one first.
Okay.
#Wildstar is going free to play on the 29th.
Yep.
Right? And there's been lots of discussions, hasn't there, about when the date would be. Well, Scrappy Jack is now asking, but what time? I think 1 minute past midnight, PDT. But it could happen later in the day. Your thoughts? #AskGUN.
Scrappy Jack. He knows the hard-hitting questions. He knows how to stick it to the man.
Well, why should the North American servers get all the fun? Why is it not going to be 1 minute past midnight in some European time zone?
Yeah, well, it's going to be 1 minute past midnight for America, isn't it?
Yeah.
So for us, they're 6 hours behind, so we're 6 hours ahead. So in the UK, it's going to be 1 minute past 6 a.m.
On the 28th? Or was it the 29th? Are we ahead?
No,
or
and on the
behind?
29th, we're ahead.
Are we,
Yeah.
we're okay, so we're in the head still.
Yeah, so 6 a.m.
Or if it's midnight our time, we'll get it before them.
Yeah, but I don't think we will because they're based in LA, aren't
So
they?
how are they going to do it?
So
1 minute
like
past midnight.
like I just said,
servers. So we're going to get them into the day? Early in the morning, 6 o'clock.
early in the morning, 6 a.m. is my bet.
Alright,
That's what time for each play will hit.
okay.
There you go.
I'm going to be controversial and say it's going to be like 10 minutes past 11 in the morning.
Right. Well, there was no maths behind your guess. That was just a wild
I
speculation.
don't even know what time zone.
You just chucked that question in the tumble dryer and hoped it popped out.
Yep. That's going to be Malaysian time.
Malaysian time.
So another question that he threw out there, at Geeks of Nexus, is the song Dr. Feelgood by Motley Crue a good fit for Dr. Victor Lazarin? #AskGUN. I said no, because he made his whole race ill.
And I said yes, because then he cured them.
Well, he hasn't really cured them, they're still looking for a cure. It just made them feel slightly better.
Well, yeah, he made them survive.
It's
I
debatable.
don't think they're in constant pain right now, so I
and
think they feel pretty good.
Technically, looking at the law, it says that they're now pretty much immortal. So, I
Right.
don't know.
When did that come about?
So read the law, and the more that's just on the official website. It says they used to have a lifespan of 108 years or something, and
Yeah.
now technically they're immortal.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, that's feeling pretty good. So I say yeah.
They might be contagious, but they can live forever.
I'd
in
feel
that
pretty
way.
good if I was immortal.
Um,
Thanks, Dr. Victor Lazarin.
I'm still going to say no, because half their face is falling off. Some of them. At Geeks of Nexus, this is my favourite one. Thank you, Scrappy Jack. If you put a Mordesh's head in a jar of Vitalis, would it be like Futurama? Hashtag Ask Joanne. Yes. Yes, it would.
No, because those heads also need to be of comical value.
They are
I don't think
comical.
the Mordesh are very funny people. Just saying. They're also
Well,
serious.
They are a little bit serious.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you be
What would be-
serious in their predicament?
No, I'm a very entertaining person, Kim.
My
That'd be hilarious.
Mordesh is rather cool. He has dreadlocks and everything.
Well, we're not talking about cool. We're talking about funny here. You know what would be very Futurama? A lop's head in a jar. That would be hilarious.
That would be. Oh no, I feel sad though about that. But at least it would still be alive. Lops. Why not just have a lop in a jar? Why does it have to be the head? You could fit a whole lop in a jar.
Well, you can't treat them, you can't give them special treatment just because they're small, Kim. If you're chopping off everyone's head and putting them in a jar, then you have to chop off the lod's head.
You'd have to put something special in the jar though, wouldn't you? Because they like licking special things.
Yeah.
You know.
Lobhead jars, good prices, you buy.
I'm going to leave that there. So that was it for this week's Geeks of Nexus. I apologise for any oddness and oddities.
It was really long.
And
It was
hope
kind of a
we
train
made
wreck.
I don't know how long it was. I dread to think. Probably turns out it's just right and we're just talking nonsense.
Right.
But we have been Geeks of Nexus. We are part of the Epic Geeks Network. You can find out about us and other shows at epicgeeks.co.uk. You can email us, geeksofnexus@gmail.com, and you can find us on the lovely world of Twitter at Geeks of Nexus, where you can send us interesting and odd questions like Scrappy Jack does to hashtag AskGON. I might even change the segment to Scrappy Jack's question time. Or something similar.
Yeah.
I have been Draycass. You can find me on Twitter at Draycass. Where can we find you, Sparky?
You can find me at Epic Dark Sparky.
And that's it. We're gonna go now and probably stream some Wildstar on our Twitch channel, which is Twitch TV/Epic Geeks. Goodbye.
Stop.
That's at the desk. It worked.
This podcast is part of the Epic Geeks Network. To find out more about our other gaming podcasts, head to epicgeeks.co.uk.